actually am today returning to actually cover some more Chainsaw Man. Are we good to go? We certainly are. So we actually have returned to actually cover chapter 92 of Chainsaw Man. As we know, 91, holy shit, it was quite the ride, I must say. I mean, the whole thing with power, the whole entire thing that we actually have Denji back, but at what cost at this point? At this point, it's like Denji's back, but it's like, yeah, but we're still depressed, by the way. This ain't happy times. Kishiba's actually returned, finally. He's been vibing next to a dumpster this entire time. That's my entire thought process behind his character being missing this entire time. He's been vibing against that dumpster the entire time. So how this whole entire thing will wrap up, I have no idea. Literally have zero idea how this whole entire thing is going to wrap up. Because we're in the conclusion arc of Chainsaw Man now, so I don't know how this whole entire thing will conclude. I mean, I've got a basic idea that maybe Halloween might be the key to it all, but again, it's whether or not that's the idea, or like Kishiba has some other plan behind closed doors. And the fact that she is also called Zombie Blood Chainsaw as well is actually kind of a semi-telling sign that maybe something's going to happen this chapter. Also, there's a color page as well, which is any indication that something might actually happen. Because if I remember correctly, most of the time, those on color pages actually end up dead. Because Reze had one. Reze's not technically dead, but she's not Reze anymore. Aki had one. Aki's now dead. Himeno had one as well. Santa Claus had one. 20 had one. I believe that's it. And Denji had one, technically speaking, as well. I think Denji's basically kind of dead inside, so it's halfway there. Aki's dead. Himeno is dead. Well, again, at this point. Question mark on every single thing, but I'm guessing Himeno's completely gone, so is Aki possibly. But yeah, if I remember correctly, it's how it normally goes down. So color pages don't normally indicate to me that something might actually happen, but who knows? Anyway, let's actually begin 92 Zombie Blood Chainsaw. Actually, can in theory go to the next page. That is. There we go. Oh, because it's a double page spread. That's why I was like, what? Why is it not going forward? Alright, it's safe to talk again. We won't be trapped here for a little while. Get some food in here while we have this chance. I saw some things I shouldn't have. Does that mean Miss Maki will kill me? Yep. I can't find my family, can I? Nope. Rest of my life? That's probably so. Thank goodness. Huh? Thank goodness I have an excuse to get away from them. From who? My dad and my mum. Oh. If that panel ain't the mood of Chainsaw Man, I don't know what else is, to be honest. It's literally the mood. Once you've eaten and get some sleep, I've got an early start tomorrow. Huh? What's the matter? I always get the short end of the stick. I'm so gonna die. I'm scared of dying. Must be nice to be you. You can come back to life. You know, I look fine, but right now my heart feels like it's at the bottom of the toilet, clogged with crap. All the good feelings, all the bad feelings I had up until now, they were all manufactured by somebody else. I'm dumb as a rock, so I was cool with living as the fool. But next thing I knew, my ignorance made it all go down the crapper. Thinking back on it now, I never made any choices for myself. I just got used always. I just got used. Always did as I was told instead of thinking for myself. The only real choices I made were little things like what to eat for lunch. Even if I make it out this alive, I bet I'll always be living in obedience to somebody like a dog. Isn't that just normal though? Huh? There's no such thing as a life free of bad things, except in your dreams. Oh fuck! Jesus Christ Almighty! This got deep quick, and also depressing real quick. Oh. But I wanted to be normal, and you want to be normal, Denji. Chainsaw Man. There's not a soul who doesn't know his name. With a chainsaw on his head, he cuts down devils one after another. He never reveals his identity, never asks for anything in return. Are you with me, viewers? This isn't the hero of a manga we're talking about. We're talking about the man who always gets back up again, no matter how many times he goes down. Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man? That's me. Chainsaw Man, thank you. Chainsaw Man, Chainsaw Man, Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man, Chainsaw Man, Chainsaw Man, Chainsaw Man. Well. There we go. There we go. Alright, so this is actually quite a telling chapter as well, to be honest. Oh boy, right, so there's a lot to unpack in this chapter because now we basically got a reveal of like a bit more about Kobeni's character. Kobeni's basically now, she hasn't technically all been revealed to us because technically speaking she's still shrouded in mystery, but now there's always been the idea that there hasn't technically been almost an equal for like Denji's character to an extent of which now it currently is. Like in essence, Kobeni almost doesn't really kind of seem as if that character who almost is on equal levels to an extent with Denji's character, almost the person he needs right now. And to that end, it's quite interesting how this chapter almost kind of was like how Kobeni's always been kind of like not to the degree of like the comedic kind of idea, but now she's kind of taking a more like, I guess, central role in this whole entire arc. Like in essence, how she might very kind of be there for Denji. She might be that character that he always needed. How everyone else was like, yeah, how he's saying that how it was superficial. Every single thing beforehand was a superficial kind of manufactured feeling. The feelings that exist within Kobeni, you can tell that they actually are real. They're the real deal. She feels that herself. Even though to a degree I do actually understand that Power and Aki Doonfree also feel their emotions as well. But I kind of feel like there's a connection there more so with Kobeni, but also then Aki's very much the same as well. But it's interesting, and the whole entire thing now with like the idea of Chainsaw Man as well, how Chainsaw Man, how in the manga Fujimoto basically says he's no hero of a manga, he's someone else. To that end, it's a very interesting idea as well, how it takes on a more like metaphysical like idea, how he isn't the hero of the manga, he's a title of the manga as well. He's more so, he's the existence of the whole entire manga. He exists everywhere, so to speak. And to that end, it's kind of a very interesting idea how he is dealing with the concept of actually being the hero. Because, yeah, it's not technically always said to us bluntly that he is the hero of this world, because it's not like in other mangas where you kind of get like, there's the hero and the villain, and that's always kind of like the given. More or less here, Denji's always been just kind of a normal kid. He's been a normal kid thrown into his whole entire idea and actually kind of gone forward and actually kind of wanted to get the life he wanted. But at the same time, the actions he didn't really have, doing free, almost attribute him a hero. It's like what happened when it first got introduced, the idea of actually chanting his name. It's very much more of a kind of like a heroic kind of persona. But it isn't that at all here, if you get what I mean. There's no sense of accomplishment, because in other manga, if someone chants the hero's name, you're like, fuck yeah, he's chanting the name. It's like we feel that emotion. Do you feel that here? You don't ever feel the sense of accomplishment, because there's no sense of accomplishment here. What have they accomplished? Like Denji says, basically everything he's ever had is basically just gone down the crapper. He's got nothing left, so to speak, besides himself at this point. He's not, the emotions he thought he had were manufactured. So it almost is telling. It could in theory be interpreted that it's a full break. The idea of actually how Denji's been on this kind of trajectory this entire time, almost as a character in the manga, like how he is exhibiting the character of a manga. Like, he is literally that, as in a way, like, in essence, how Makima can in theory be interpreted as the writer. Like, how she's basically thinking for him, making do things for him, and actually, well, not for him, but you know what I mean. and all those kind of things. How nothing he ever felt, nothing he ever did in theory do, was him. It was Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man being the title of the manga. So more or less, Denji's basically just a cog in the wheel of this entire storyline. He's just the means to an end. He's kind of like Agni in that way, because Agni had the exact same kind of idea. How in Fire Punch, Fujimoto was examining the actual kind of like the idea of being the main character, how you do in theory get idolized, how what happens when that does in theory happen. The same thing's applying here. Denji's almost just a cog in a wheel. He's just there in a way. He's not, even though Chainsaw Man technically is him, it's not him at the exact same time. It's someone else. It's someone entirely different. He's just there, in a way. He's a vessel. He's a vessel, which actually then goes back to this whole entire idea of, like, whenever you see a title that isn't necessarily, like, the character name itself. Like, in essence, Naruto is about Naruto. So that one is more attributed to the character than, say, Fire Punch is more attributed to Fire Punch as well, because Fire Punch is also Agni. But stuff like 007 as well. 007 is a code name. It's not a person, it's an entity. The same thing could in theory be applied to Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man exists as an entity, and this entire manga's basically been like kind of an examination of what it's like to actually exist within a manga like this, so to speak. Because also, the other idea is also to note is like the idea of like how chanting Chainsaw Man's name didn't also weaken Chainsaw Man as well, because very correctly they also lived in the fear of Chainsaw Man, but now it's actually been kind of reversed. It's actually kind of reversed the entire thing, so you can tell like it still hasn't ended. The entire thing is still going on. So to that end, you kind of do in theory wonder what's going to happen there, and also then what Kishiba's actual final plan is going to be, because now Kabane is actually a part of this whole entire thing. We might actually kind of understand her whole entire true purpose as well, because again, I don't think we still know her contract. It's still surrounded in mystery. It's still one of the more mysterious parts of this whole entire manga. It's actually her contract in this whole entire world. So possibly, maybe she is the card they need in a way. She's the card that is needed to actually kind of possibly defeat Makima, because again, we don't necessarily know the actual way they will defeat her, because Twenty is kind of is one of the keys because of Cosmo. But without her there, how we Halloween's probably the only way to actually incapacitate Makima, just stop her completely. But if you don't have that, we have to think of something else. So to that end, maybe Koben is actually the key to this all this whole entire thing. But I also like how, because manga didn't really start with deconstructing the Shonen MC's character in a way. This manga started doing that because when you realize it about midway through chapter 11, this entire manga is trivializing the shonen main character's dreams, the shonen main character's actual kind of character traits, and all those kind of things. Once you realize that, it begins to kind of take on a different shape, and actually then when things start to actually kind of come to a head, it sort of began to make more sense how it actually was trivializing the idea of actually the shonen idea in its own way as well. And actually now even more so, it's brought back that theme, the idea of actually living in this world. What it does in theory mean, how it is a predetermined idea. It's not necessarily like, oh yeah, by the way, I am this person, because you're meant to believe you are. You're meant to believe you exist in this world to actually kind of accomplish something, but what happens if it actually is manufactured? And to an end, Fujimoto is basically exploring that whole entire idea, like more meta than, say, any other kind of manga creator I've ever seen beforehand, to my knowledge. You know, probably other meta anime / manga I've probably ever seen that does this quite often is Gintama. But other than that, it's a very kind of like, it's more or less like he is kind of looking at the idea of like the existence of Denji in this world, in comparison to, say, like, I don't know, any other character you find in shonen manga. Because in a way, once you kind of look at Denji versus everyone else, it makes you see differently how character traits and character development exists. How it does in theory feel as if it actually is almost manufactured in a way. How it's someone else rather than him. So yeah, to that end, I really do like how this manga does this. It does it quite often. It's one of the main things I love about Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man's always existed as the kind of like the deconstruction of, I hate saying the deconstruction because it's a really overused term nowadays, but it is a deconstruction of the shonen main character and the shonen manga in its entirety. It doesn't exist on the exact same plane of existence as, say, My Hero Academia does. It's not the same manga at all. I mean, literally, but you know what I mean. It's more or less like, I know people say, oh yeah, Chainsaw Man's different, but it is. If you look at it from a meta standpoint, the entire manga is like this entirely different approach. So yeah, I mean, God, it's all come to a head now. Like, this whole entire thing's actually come to a head, and actually is really interesting to see how he will end it, and what it does in 3 mean for the actual overall outcome of this whole entire manga. And I really like what he actually is doing with this manga at this point. It's really, really interesting. It's different, and actually I like different. I always like Fujimoto's writing style, because it always is like, it's a constant idea of like what it's like to be in this kind of storyline, more meta than, say, I exist in this kind of storyline, so to speak. So yeah, I mean, don't know how many chapters we actually have left. People Doom 3 say it's about 5. So, I mean, maybe before the end of the year we might see the conclusion. Maybe after the end of the year we might see the conclusion. But I do actually want to see how this whole entire thing wraps up, because it is getting like, no one can predict anything at this point. It is really fucking interesting. So yeah, that is me done for today. So as always, Goshicho arigatou gozaimasu. Boku no dogo wo moshiroi to omotara ine ya channel toruku wo onegaishimasu. So as always, if you actually have enjoyed this whole entire stream as a whole on Twitch, then do leave a follow on Twitch, because indeed it's done quite a bit. If you have then enjoyed this whole entire stream as a whole on YouTube Doom 3, leave a like, because indeed it's done quite a bit. If you have then enjoyed this whole entire stream Doom 3, leave a sub, because indeed it's done quite a bit as well. If you have then enjoyed this whole entire stream Doom 3, follow me on Twitter or join Discord as well, because both help me quite a lot, and both will then tell you when the streams go live and any other streams I do as well. But until next time, some more Chainsaw Man. See you guys later. Bye for now.